Welcome back to Lifetime Talks, everyone. I'm Jamie Martin, and I'm here today with Andy Peeke. He is a lead pickleball pro for Lifetime Pickleball in New York City. He's also a PPR certified coach, and he is riding the tsunami of the pickleball phenomenon that is happening everywhere. It seems like it's been several years now. Andy, how are you?
I'm great. Happy to be here. So Lifetime Pickleball NYC. We started out with 2 courts. February 15th, 2023. I remember my first day.
Oh, I love that.
And now we're at 7 courts with adding 3 more courts later on this year at Lifetime Dumbo in Brooklyn, and a very robust, healthy membership and a very passionate New York City pickleball community.
That's awesome. How did you get into pickleball? I mean, it seems like you have some racket sport experience. When did pickleball become the thing that you focused on?
Great. So that's a good question. I actually don't have a racket sports background.
Okay.
I went to college on a football scholarship, and I coached and played semi-pro football in Europe. I got into pickleball, it was 2022-ish. Well, the first time I ever played was 2017. There was like an after Thanksgiving like pickleball like come and play thing. I'm like, let me go sign up and play that. And I had fun, but I was wildly frustrated by how to keep score, because keeping score is a little tricky. But then I played a couple times, dabbled here and there, and then I've been in entertainment for over 20 years now. And my significant other, she said, Andy, you're just going and playing pickleball every day, and you're kind of relying on me too much financially here. And I was like, but you're doing well financially, so I'm fine. I'm like, good. I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
I'm going to stick with my hobby over here, right?
Yeah, because I was going to New Jersey and like playing with like a senior citizens group, and I was having so much fun.
That's amazing.
And then she like 2 weeks later, like seriously talked to me, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? She wants me to work. I'm going to start coaching pickleball, and I'm going to get so busy, she's going to wish I had free time. I'm coaching pickleball out of spite.
Oh, my gosh.
And honestly, this past weekend, I was running a tournament all weekend at Lifetime Westchester, and she was like, you didn't spend any time with me this weekend. I was like, I got a job, lady. The job that you told me you wanted me to get. So there you go.
I love it. Well, okay, so one of the things you shared with me ahead of time is that your wife is the best most of the time, is what you said. And I feel like this advice for her, like pushing you in that direction of pickleball, was a good push for you.
You know what? Sometimes, that's how you know you have the right person, is when they push you in the right places, in the right directions, and So
you've been involved with pickleball kind of as it's been rising in popularity. You've seen it go from kind of like this recreational thing that kind of happened, honestly, like my grandparents stayed at this place in Florida where pickleball has been a thing for as long as I can remember. But all of a sudden it's taking everybody by storm, right? Like you've been riding that wave too. What have you seen? Why do you think it's happening? I mean, we've talked about this before, like with other people in the pickleball space, but what are you seeing here in New York?
A lot of questions in there. So, why this rise of pickleball? And I was on the Today Show one time, and they asked me about this, and they're like, "It's like this thing," and I was like, "It's like a tsunami.
Yeah,
you don't really see it coming. It's just like growing and growing and growing and growing and growing." And the question is now why? So, during COVID, a lot of people were, you got to be a certain distance away. So pickleball was one of those things where you're kind of like, you and I are about this far apart, okay? And then we can be out and move around and be active, okay?
Right.
So this kind of checks some boxes that we can do. At the same time, pickleball, we say this a lot as coaches, easy to learn, difficult to master. Right. So you can get out there day 1, day 2, and if you have some okay hand-eye coordination and athleticism, you can play. And one of the most fun things is when you hit a hard ball at me and I block it and it goes back to you, and then you hit it again and we're shocked how many balls we just hit back and forth at each other. Yes. It's hilarious, and people just start giggling. because we our subconscious takes over and we lose consciousness and we're just having fun.
You're just in the moment, right? In the flow of it.
You just get very much so in the moment. So flow state, that's actually part of it. And a friend of mine, James Valentine, the guitarist for Maroon 5, was on a podcast recently talking about, he read a study somewhere saying that when you play pickleball, you find yourself dropping into that flow state more often than a lot of other activities. A good one to compare it to is tennis. Right. Tennis, first serve, often is out, second serve, and then, points don't last as long. Pickleball, the serve's easier to hit. It often goes in. The rally, the point tends to last longer. It tends to be more interactive. The space is smaller, so everything's happening at a bit of a faster tempo. And it can really, once you just get the hang of it, it can just get very fun. You build this social community around it, and it's just fun. You're in flow, and sometimes when you're done, you just want to sit there and hang out and watch and hang out with your friends afterwards, and that's the beauty of it all.
Well, it has become very much for people their social life, right, is on the pickleball court.
Yeah.
And so what kind of communities have you seen built around it?
Yeah, fun stuff that we do here at Lifetime Pickleball NYC in terms of what we see. We'll have a lot of pickleball going away parties. We just had a member, shout out to Kareem, who's moving to Seattle, and he's like, "Hey Andy, bad news, I'm moving to Seattle, but I'd love to do a pickleball going away party. Can you help me schedule that?" And so that's one of the fun things that we do is a lot of pickleball going away parties, pickleball birthday parties, which I'm going to one this Saturday. So that's fun in the community. And, outside of Lifetime Pickleball NYC, people running tournaments and, I bump into a lot of the same players at tournaments, and it's fun to see people in different environments all over the place, see who's using what new paddles and who's playing with who used to play together, but I heard they had a falling out. Now those two are playing together. There's fun little community inside stories. Who's dating who sometimes. It's very fun. Yeah.
The matchmaking that happens probably in the pickleball court. I mean, you're playing with partners, right? In many cases, and maybe switching around depending if it's an open play event or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, this will probably come out a little too late, but tomorrow at Lifetime Pen 1, we have single and mingle pickleball with a professional matchmaker from NYC Matchmaking, Michelle Frankel. Shout out to her. And this will be our fourth single and mingle pickleball event. So
that's awesome.
We have a age 45 and under, so 21 to 45, and then age 45 plus, single and mingle pickleball. So there's another fun community event that we're throwing in there. We'll have Halloween pickleball. I think what's 65 to 2025, 40 years? No, 50?
Yeah.
Because it's the 50-year anniversary. No, 60 years.
Yeah.
So pickleball was invented in 1965. We're now in 2025.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a national organization saying, do a wooden paddle tournament to commemorate 60 years of since pickleball's been invented. Yeah. And so that's something that's happening around the country, and we're working on putting one of those together too at our place.
So fun. So really just embracing all the aspects of the sport, the things that make it fun, that make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
And you said the word earlier, the joy you see on people's faces. It feels like there's just a level of joy that happens just naturally with the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. Naturally and often surprisingly.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to enjoy this, but I'm having more fun than I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit. You said pickleball's easy to learn, but it's difficult to master. And there's a lot of people who it has become way more competitive in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Even. It's been rising in popularity, but there is a segment of players who are getting on those pickleball courts who are really in that competitive space. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that community and what's happened there.
As with anything, as it gets more attention, as money gets involved, and then you can quit your job and become a full-time pickleball pro, which actually one of our members did that. Kate Fahey, shout out to her, who was working at American Express, was a very high level. Often the best pickleball players tend to be former really high-level college tennis players,
sense.
sometimes really high-level table tennis players. So Kate was like, done with college tennis, working at Amex, and started playing pickleball with some of our like top local pros, and was kind of like a hidden gem of talent. Got seen by some of like really top level pros, Anna Bright, and Anna Bright said, we got to draft Kate Fahey for our professional pickleball team. And Kate got drafted. She now lives in North Carolina and is playing pickleball full time. And it's great. It's a really happy story. One of our former coaches on staff, who's now moved to Austin, Texas, Len Yang, former table tennis player, who is one of the tops in the country in youth table tennis, and incredible hands. I mean, you can just hit any hard ball you want at Len, and he's just a wall. Everything's just getting blocked and come back, and it's all coming back to you. And you're like, how can I just not get a ball past this guy? And he's just, he's got some of the pedigree, but he's also been training a lot to really hone in his skills. And Len's got a great social media following also, and posts some very fun and entertaining stuff. So it's great to see Len and Kate and so many of these people thrive in an industry that really wasn't there, 5-10 years ago. Maybe even 3 or 4 years ago. So it's really great to see those opportunities for young, up-and-coming athletes to have this opportunity.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
So let's say you're an everyday pickleball player like myself.
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen people of all different skills and abilities come through. Do you have any favorite stories of people who, like, I'm coming in, I'm learning to play the sport, and their life has changed, has been transformed? Like, what have you seen as you've been working with somebody, more an everyday recreational player like myself?
An everyday recreational player. Some of those are my favorites. Actually, one of those is my absolute favorite. And that's my wife, who not an athlete, doesn't have a sports background, and it's great that, and I mean, she started out, and I remember being like, this is a project. This is a project.
Yeah, they're like, easy to learn.
Easy to learn. I mean, she knows the rules.
Yes.
Okay. But difficult to master.
Yeah.
And there's a rating system, Duper, and we use that for everything that we do at our facility, because people tend to have the best time when they're having fun, competitive games. Yeah. Okay. If you have 3 good players and 1 bad player, it's not that fun. If you have 1 really good player and 3 bad players, it's not really that fun. We get all 4 players right around the same level. Like, they're all really going for it. And that's when it becomes really fun and competitive. And, gosh, my wife, I remember when she started, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a journey. But she recently crossed over 4.0, which is kind of a big threshold to cross over. Like, if you're a 4.0 player, a lot of people are like, okay, so you're pretty legit. Like, how to play, and you're pretty good. And then she told me, she goes, Andy, I'm going to take a break from playing any Duper matches for a while. I'm going to sit on this 4.0 rating, start, keep training the way I'm training, and then maybe in like 6 months play another tournament. So she's and her and I have played in some tournaments before together too. Last one we had quite the heated exchange on the court. Oh my goodness!
I bet that happens from time to time.
It does. And the day after, she comes up, she goes, I just don't feel good about what happened on the court yesterday. Don't you feel the same way? And I was like, no, I had totally moved on. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. But it was, I said to her, I see how I could have done better next time, and next time I'll do better.
Always something to learn.
Yeah.
Always learning, right?
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Duper score for a second. For somebody who doesn't know what that scale is, like, what is a 4? Where does it start? What's considered like, you're the best pickleball players out there, you're getting rated?
Great. So Duper stands for Dynamic Universal Pickleball Rating, DUPR.
Great.
The lowest you can be is a 2.0, and the highest you can be is an 8.0.
Okay.
To give some points of reference here, the top players in the world tend to be in the low 7s, And I think there's like probably 5 to 10 of those.
Okay.
Right. And most notably, Ben John's the #1 male player in the world. And then Annalie Waters is the #1 female player in the world. I don't know what her duper is right now, but she's probably around like a 6.5. I can look it up really quick.
Got it. Okay.
And then somebody like my wife I mentioned is a 4.0. Len Yang, who I mentioned earlier, I think he's probably around like a 6.5.
Got it. Okay. What about people coming into a Lifetime location? Are the majority of people kind of in that 2 to 4 range? Or are you finding more and more people are crossing like that 4.0 threshold?
So most people, people come in from all different backgrounds. So if, again, a lot of times I have a very strong opinion on how a lot of facilities run their programming.
Okay.
There's only one word I believe should be used to describe a skill level, and that's beginner, because that means it doesn't even describe a skill level, just is where you are in your pickleball journey.
Right.
Because a beginner, somebody in their, middle age who doesn't have any sports background versus a former college tennis player in their mid-20s, they're both beginners on day one, but that former college tennis player is starting out in that 4.0 to 4.5 range, probably
because of the skill that they already have built up.
Because their sports background and their pedigree. Whereas somebody who's middle aged and never played any sports, they're going to be starting out at a much they're both beginners, but the skill levels where they're starting are very different.
Got it.
And then after beginner, I always like to refer to everybody just based on the number of what they are. And there's no good or bad or right or wrong. There just is that number. Yeah. As opposed to, the words intermediate, advanced, advanced beginner, advanced intermediate. I just think that's all.
It's super nuanced, right?
It's all gray area. It's a huge gray area. Whereas if you just apply a number to it, such as a duper rating, it just becomes very objective and clear for everyone. And I always tell our members and other players, your duper is your rating is under your control. Your hands are on the steering wheel. So, choose your partners wisely. Go play in competitive events and play more duper matches. And, if you think you're underrated, then you should be winning against these players that are at your same skill level. So, what should somebody be when they start out? That's really all over the board. Depends on, your background, your sports background, first of all, and your athleticism and hand-eye coordination. And then really how much you put into it. Just like anything, you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah, the more reps, the more time you get on the court, like that's going to affect that pretty significantly. And aside
from, the whole skill level idea, the relationships, the community, a lot of those things that you get out those are the hidden gems. That's the silver lining right there.
That's amazing. And I think that, we talk all the time at Lifetime about the importance of community and how it fits into a healthy way of life as a whole. We know it's critical. Yeah. How have you experienced that firsthand as somebody who's there and witnessing it every day? How does it contribute to your own quality of life?
Obviously, I work at Lifetime, but I find myself often, my wife will be playing pickleball and I'm just like, I don't want to go home. I'll just hang here.
Yeah.
She's over there on the court playing. I'm just chatting with some members and like hanging out, and I call it my member relations time.
Yeah.
That's and I'm genuinely just happy just to be there and hanging out sometimes when I'm not playing and too actively involved in any work projects. So, and then birthday parties. I'm fortunate enough. I have a birthday next week, and my wife coordinated a whole birthday party for us with about 1,000 pickleball players coming, and I get
Pack
to
the courts.
Yeah. Fortunately, I get invited to a lot of members' birthdays in and around town, which is a lot of fun, and just other social events. I've been fortunate enough. I've gotten to travel the world playing pickleball. So one of our other coaches, her and I went to India to play in a tournament together. And one of our members at the time was living in India, so we got to hang out with him a lot. And then while we were in India, we met a group of people from Tanzania, and they invited us to come play in their tournament in Tanzania. So 6 months later, we went to Tanzania and played in a tournament there. and met a lot of other people, and the pickleball community just keeps growing from there.
I would say like it's a global phenomenon. It's not like it's just limited to the U.S. or North America. It's everywhere.
Yeah, very concentrated in the U.S. Canada has some pickleball growth. Vietnam, it's really big.
Interesting. Okay.
Australia, India, it's pretty big. China, it's growing. Where else? Grand Cayman. I was in the Cayman Islands recently, and they have a very nice facility down there at Pickleball Cayman, and I'd recommend anyone go if they can, because the facility's great, the beaches are great, the Cayman Islands are great.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I'm going to switch gears for a second because I keep, when we think of pickleball, we often think of doubles, right? But there is a growing wave of people playing more singles.
Oh boy, are we talking about the LT Open?
Well, we can talk about it. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that, because I think I prefer doubles for myself. But tell us about what you're seeing with that shift, or maybe not a shift, but just more of a balance, maybe with more singles and doubles.
Yeah. So singles. You get a lot of former tennis players in singles. Yeah. They love to play singles because it's kind of like they're playing a version of tennis out there.
Yeah.
I tend to prefer doubles. I do play singles once in a while, but oftentimes a lot of those singles are against former college tennis players that are in their mid-20s, and that can be a lot to deal with sometimes in singles pickleball. But singles is a fun, fast, furious game.
That's exciting.
I know. Bahram Akradi is a big fan of singles and pickleball too.
Yeah, our founder and CEO. Yeah, he's a big fan, and I know it's exciting to watch. Right? It's fun to watch doubles too, because you're seeing all those paddles going the back and forth. Yeah. But it just changes the game when it's one-on-one against each other.
Yeah, and you see some fascinating shots, fascinating athleticism, and the pro. Watching pro singles, it's you're seeing the best of the best really go out there and compete and really hit some incredible shots, and it's fun having some of them come into New York City. I know Connor Garnett, one of the top singles players in the world, he's coming here doing clinics with us in New York City in mid-October. And we've had a few other of the top singles players in the world come through here. So it's always great having them here at our facility and doing lessons and clinics with our members and the New York City community.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because I know pickleball is big just in this city.
Yeah.
What have you seen with Lifetime's pickleball growth since you've been involved in this area?
I don't know. Lifetime's pickleball growth in this area. Yeah. So, nationally, I'm not as plugged in, but New York City, regionally wise, I'm very, very plugged in. Oh man, I mean, when we started, I was the lead pro at Lifetime Sky with 2 courts.
Okay.
Just figuring out what I needed to do, and now I feel like I've really, me and Max Green over there, we're co-lead pros. Have really hit our stride in terms of, knowing what we're doing and executing on programming, running tournaments, running leagues, putting together social events, Halloween pickleball and other stuff that we have to help connect the whole community. Yeah. It's been an adventure. Sometimes it's just we jumped out of a plane and had to build the parachute as we're falling from the sky.
Yeah, scrambling a little bit sometimes.
But now it feels like we're not. We know what we're doing. We know what direction we're going in, and we put a lot of time and effort into the quality control of every open play and every session that we have. I've often said this, and I know it sounds like we're tooting our own horn, but this is the most quality controlled pickleball facility on earth. I actually was just playing with a guy from Florida this morning, and he's like, "There's nothing like this in Florida. You can't go to an open play and be guaranteed you're going to get players of your skill level." Yeah. I mean, I've traveled, I've played pickleball all over the world, and you sign up for something and you're hoping there's going to be good players, but a lot of times they'll just let people just decide which skill level they want to play in. We're fanatics about making sure if you want to play in a 5.0 plus open play, you must be 5.0 plus. A 4.99 is not a 5.0 plus. If you want to get there, that 4.99 player needs to play one more game and win it and get up to 5.0 plus. So
I love that. Yeah. Quality control. Quality
control.
Assurance.
Yeah.
Quality assurance. Okay, so how would you suggest if somebody's thinking, hey, I'm going to play pickleball for the first time?
Yeah.
I mean, we want people to take care of themselves. What do people need to do? What are a few things you would suggest for them if they're thinking about getting on the pickleball court, just to make sure they're out there kind of ready, preparing their bodies and just taking good care of themselves?
Yeah, well, first I would do what you did, Jamie, and that is get a pickleball skirt.
I did just say that before we started recording. Like, I just got my first pickleball outfit.
That's a step in the right direction.
Yep.
You know, I wouldn't, for a lot of people out there, if you're thinking, okay, all right, you two, maybe I'll go try this sport. Ask a friend, ask a neighbor, ask a family member, hey, you know, do you want to go play pickleball? Like, don't go out and like buy the best paddle and buy, don't, spend a lot of money. Just go play somewhere. Find a local facility and say, hey, contact them and say, is there, something where I can I'm interested in getting started playing pickleball. I'm sure they get those inquiries all the time. And you can go in and start playing pickleball and see how you like it. Try to do it with people that you enjoy being around. That'll tend to help to improve your experience. And then kind of as you go along, try to find, the more you do it, the more you'll kind of like get in where you fit in kind of thing. And you'll find the people you enjoy playing with and people you kind of want to avoid, and you'll start having a lot of fun. I'm pretty confident in that.
I love that.
And it's great. You mentioned the fitness journeys, and aside from like some of the pros, like my wife who now I think she plays more pickleball than me now. But I made a number of friends through the community that I've gone to weddings with, traveled to Africa with. That are members here at Lifetime, and it's great to make those connections and see people who have are obese and then lose a lot of weight or are kind of shy and then they start coming out of their shell or looking for love in all the wrong places and they find their significant other on the pickleball court. We have all of those stories and it's great to see.
It's really interesting in a time when so often we're connecting with people via our devices, right? Like this is one of those ways, like get people back together in a really fun way where it doesn't have to be high pressure, right? You can kind of get out there, hopefully be with people at your skill level, right?
Yeah.
But just to connect with people in another way, you know, where we're looking up, we're seeing each other, we're being really present because you have to be present on a pickleball court to be playing the game.
You're not out there on your smartphone, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
Oh, I've got a good story on that. So one time, my friend Ross, we were in Miami, and he had the hots for this one girl. And then this girl, she's like, oh, we need 2 more for our game. And Ross looked at me. I'm like, let's go. And so I'm like, why don't you 2 play together? And he's like, oh, okay. And then the ball came to me, and I just went, boop. I popped it up, and then, like, she smacked it right back at me really hard.
Gosh,
and Ross just looked at me, and he was just like, he knew I did that on purpose.
Like a little generous pop up there.
Just wanted to make her look good, and the two of them, and him high five her and all that stuff. And we still joke about that. And he went on a couple dates with that girl too.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
you never know what you might find on the pickleball court.
Yeah.
Anything else, Andy, you want to add, or before we get ready to sign off here?
Oh, gee willikers, that's a great question. Anything I want to add?
Gee willikers, I haven't heard that in a while.
Just showing off my old wholesome all-American roots here. There's a lot of, I know a lot of former tennis it's like, oh, pickleball. Ugh.
Yeah.
I would just encourage people to try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it, fine. And if you're coming from another sport or if you've never played a sport, go out there and give it a try. Try it 1 or 2 or 3 times. And if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's fine. But if it is and you get into the right community, I've made a number of connections and relationships, and I've coached, people for the first time ever that, have, one of them's become one of the top juniors in the country now. And his mom texts me after every tournament and sends me a photo. And it's really great to see those stories. So, but you don't know until you try. So want to just, for anyone out there on the fence about it, go out there, try it, have some fun. If it's not fun, oh well, at least you tried.
At least you tried.
Yeah.
All right, we always have kind of one final question at the end, not related to this, but this is a very easy one. We're a healthy way of life company at Lifetime. What is one or two of your non-negotiable health habits?
Oh, gee, Willikers. One or two non-negotiable health habits. That's a good one. Well, non-negotiable sounds very rigid.
Very rigid.
Very rigid.
How about?
So I'll answer.
Okay,
I'm gonna massage those words a little bit, mold them into the clay that I think it is. So I'm very, very strict. I read food ingredient labels a lot, and added sugars are really, really bad. So I really do a lot to avoid things with added sugars. And if if it does have added sugars, usually if it's 5 grams or under, I'm like, okay, this, it's like pollution. I'm going to breathe in some of exhaust from that car that just
some
drove
exposure.
by me. But I try to keep that on the light side. So avoid added sugars, and then. Just stay active. I feel like I've done a pretty good job my whole life. I turned 46 next week. Just staying active my whole life, avoiding added sugars, generally eating pretty healthy, and staying active. Those are some things. But I think the key to staying fit, really, and I've a lot of fitness people have even said this. It's 70-80% just your diet and what you're eating. And the rest is working out. So calories in, calories out. There's better calories and there's not so better calories. 100 calories of Twinkies isn't as good as 100 calories of broccoli. So make some smart choices there.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. There we go. Back down to some of the foundational healthy habits, right?
Well, I got a question for you now, Jamie.
Okay. It's my turn.
What are some of your non-negotiable health habits?
For me, it's morning movement is one of mine. If I don't get up and get going in the morning, it's like my whole day is set, right? It'll mess with my day. So I'm a 5:30 a.m. riser. I like to be moving by 6 and just getting some movement in, because that for me, and getting sunshine on my face as often as I possibly can. Getting out, and that's hard.
That can be tough.
It can be really hard in Minnesota. But there are, I even have one of those lights that you have, getting some just to take care of it, because I know how critical that vitamin D is.
Sunlight or a red light?
That I have. And so get some of that vitamin D, on your skin. So for me, it's getting as much time in nature and getting up early in the mornings. Those are two of my non-negotiables.
Well, let's get out of this studio and go get some sunlight on our bodies, huh?
Well, Andy, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks.